With the release of Hitman 3 on the horizon for January 2021, I thought it was a good idea to update myself on the current Hitman storyline. But, as I found out, there's a serious lack of videos doing so on YouTube, and decided I should just make it myself. So here it is, the Hitman storyline, Season 1 and 2, up until Season 3. And since this series is a soft reboot of the Hitman IP, there will be some missing events from games you might have played, like Silent Assassin, Blood Money, and Absolution. But anyway, that's enough introduction, let's get right into the timeline. In 1962, the youth correctional facility in Brasov, Romania is overtaken by Dr. Ortmeyer. He renames it the Institute for Human Betterment and creates killer clones. 1964, Clone 47 is successfully cloned. With Dr. Otto Ortmeyer being a member of the Providence organization, he would receive multiple visits from the organization's first constant, who was the head of the organization. Agent 47 would later remember what he looked like. In 1988, Janus would retire from the KGB and reside in the United States of America. The following year, in 1989, Subject 6 and 47 were authorized by Providence to kill Diana Burnwood's parents in a car explosion. Later that year, 47 and Subject 6 went to attack their home institute. They did so unsuccessfully, and so 47 was forced to surrender, while Subject 6 managed to escape. The partners of Providence grew paranoid and told Dr. Ortmeyer to make sure that the subjects never challenged them again. 47's memory was then wiped by Dr. Ortmeyer, and Subject 6 managed to be the only clone to escape unchanged and is the only one with a conscience. In 1991, Providence's first constant, Janus, creates an exclusive club for the exclusive club, the Ark Society. The Ark Society is a survivalist club for the global elite, where billionaires preparing for a global catastrophe attempt to secure their survival. In 1998, Janus forces Dr. Ortmeyer to give up 47. In 1999, Agent 47 begins testing with the International Contract Agency, and this is where he meets his future handler, Diana Burnwood. After a background check from the ICA, they discover that someone erased 47's past, his names, and his steps. Agent 47 tells them his name is 47, and he successfully passes the tests. Eric Sodders is mad that Agent 47 passed and became a part of the ICA. In 2004, Janus moves to Whittleton Creek. It is unknown when exactly, but by this point he has stepped down as constant of Providence. Skip a few years to 2018, and Agent 47 has been completing contracts for his entire duration at the ICA since 1999. In 2018, Jordan Cross, a future ICA target, murders his girlfriend in New York. He only escapes justice because of his billionaire media mogul father, Thomas Cross. Sometime in 2019, the Shadow Client, who's head of security of Providence operative Eugene Cobb, kills him on his private plane and takes a key. The plane goes down and is deemed an accident. In Paris, France, the Shadow Client meets with Viktor Novikov about Iago, a secret underground organization with the global elite. The very next day, ICA is contracted to kill Viktor Novikov and Dalia Margolis at the Paris fashion show. They are ringleaders in said elite global organization, Iago, and Iago trades the world's most valuable secrets. Many terrorist attacks have occurred due to these important secrets being leaked. The fashion show in Paris is a secret auction to sell British spy knock lists. The ICA is contracted to stop the auction by killing both those targets. Agent 47 and the ICA's next contract is in Sapienza, Italy, where Silvio Caruso is holed up at his mansion with an underground lab. He is employed by the Ether Corporation and is creating a deadly bioweapon. The bioweapon is an invisible DNA virus shot in the form of a bullet to kill anyone. Francesca DeSantis is a lab head for Silvio Caruso. ICA is contracted to eliminate them both and destroy the Ether virus. The Shadow Client meets with and kills an unnamed businessman to retrieve another key. Next, in Marrakech, Morocco, civil rights are crazy, whilst private banker Klaus Strandberg and Army General Reza Zaidan are involved in a scheme to overthrow the Moroccan government. Strandberg was on trial and was sentenced to prison, but he was freed on his prison transport by mercenaries. It was believed that Zaidan ordered the attack to spark nationwide riots and allow for his full power to be used in the name of national security. Agent 47 eliminates both Zaidan and Strandberg. Arthur Edwards, also Providence's current constant, and Mr. Fannin meet in New York and discuss the recent assassinations and discover that a vault containing files on all the Providence operatives have been stolen. It was the Shadow Client, and they realize that Providence is under attack. At a hotel in Bangkok, Thailand, is Jordan Cross and his family attorney Ken Morgan. Ken Morgan was a key in the cover-up of Jordan Cross murdering his girlfriend. Agent 47 is contracted to kill them both. His father, Thomas Cross, is then lured out by his son's death and is kidnapped. The kidnap steals billions from their offshore savings accounts. The following week at an airport, Diana Burnwood and Agent 47 meet. They know of the Thomas Cross kidnapping. They've discovered a pattern in their contracts. They realize that a shadow client has been tipping off all the real clients with stolen information. ICA is being manipulated. ICA detectives find a link between the shadow client and hacker Olivia Hall. The anonymous data linked to Hall leads them to a remote farm in Colorado. Satellite footage of the farm discovers a private militia in training led by Sean Rose. Sean Rose was linked to the Thomas Cross kidnapping and thus the shadow client. The ICA, pushed by Eric Saunders, wants 47 to eliminate Rose along with Penelope Graves, Ezra Berg, and Maya Parvati. Burnwood is suspicious of ICA and Saunders' reasoning, and so she tells 47 to conduct some investigation while he's there. After killing the targets, 47 finds a tornado shelter that reveals Saunders has betrayed the International Contract Agency. The ICA board then sanctions Eric Saunders as 47's next target. He is receiving heart surgery at an ultra-exclusive private hospital in Japan. The ICA knows he betrayed the ICA to get there, and his activities have Providence written all over them. Yuki Yamazaki is a Providence lawyer that is also at the hospital. Saunders has given her access to ICA's client records and has agreed to give her the full list of ICA operatives after his surgery. Agent 47 stops the transaction by eliminating them both. At some point in 2019, there is no specific date, but a war crime is committed in Tungan Valley when a Kronstadt Industries drone kills thousands of peaceful protesters and is a war crime. By the end of 2019, Arthur Edwards, who is the constant, controller of Providence, meets with Diana Burnwood on a train. He says they should team up to hunt the Shadow Client and informs her that there will be no retaliations for the Saunders and Yamazaki contract. Diana refuses to lend the ICA's help to Providence. The Constant then offers to reveal 47's past if the ICA can take out the Shadow Client. At the turn of a decade, in 2020, Agent 47's first mission is infiltrating Alma Reynard's house. It was a former Providence safe house, and there is information on the Shadow Client to be extracted. While Agent 47 is in the empty house, Reynard and her entourage pull up, and 47 must eliminate her and escape. Diana then convinces the ICA board to side with Providence, saying that the Shadow Client and his militia are a threat to the world. Unbeknownst to the board, though, is the deal to reveal 47's past. The newly acquired information then leads them to Miami, United States. Sierra Knox and her father Robert Knox are discovered to be Providence traitors. They have sided with the Shadow Client out of fear of being next on his hit list. Their company, Kronstadt Industries, is a world leader in supplying next-gen military weapons and technology, especially useful for the Shadow Client's militia. They were complicit in the 2019 war crime. 47 is tasked with eliminating them both at the Miami Innovation Race. Providence operatives are then hit in Shanghai, Berlin, and Montreal. Because of these attacks, the Constant and the partners meet to discuss the matters and the current position against the Shadow Client. The Constant tells them the Shadow Client's identity. Lucas Gray. He's a mercenary, and he knows what he did to Eugene Cobb. Lucas Gray's records were also wiped clean in 1989. Meanwhile, the Shadow Client, now known as Lucas Gray, and Olivia Hall, they discuss and they say that they need 47 in order to get a lead on the partners. The ICA and Agent 47's next contract is in Colombia. The ICA found out that Lucas Gray and the militia used the Delgado cartel's distribution network to move across the globe undetected. Agent 47 is then tasked with eliminating the cartel leader, Rico Delgado, and his two closest associates, Andrea Martinez and Jorge Franco, to severely cripple the Shadow Client and his militia. After the Colombia mission, Diana Burnwood visits the grave of her parents and her brother back in Surrey, England. At this point, Diana Burnwood still doesn't know that it was Agent 47 and his associate Subject 6 that eliminated her parents. Nextly, in Johannesburg again, Lucas Gray steals a sample of an antidote to Dr. Otto Wolfgang Ortmeyer's amnesia-inducing serum. It is supposed to reverse the effects of memory wiping, and then he blows up the Ether Corporation building, killing Ether's CEO in the progress. Lucas Gray and the militia stay busy because not so long afterwards they expose the existence of Providence to the public world by releasing a hostage tape. Agent 47's next targets reside in Mumbai, India. The ICA gets a lead on one of the militia's top operatives, Wazir Kale, a southern Chinese sea pirate. He's believed to be the one who orchestrated the killings of a Providence operative from Shanghai. Wazir Kale, Dawood Rangan, and Vanya Shah run the militia's eastern cell. The old Institute for Human Betterment is then acquired by Lucas Gray with cryptocurrency. 47 then follows a breadcrumb trail right to the Institute and meets with Lucas Gray. Lucas Gray, remembering everything about his and 47's childhood, tells 47 about the Institute's past and how they were trained to become killers for Providence. Lucas Gray gets 47 to remember him as Subject 6. After the childhood friends reunite, they then meet with Diana Burnwood and also Olivia Hall. Lucas Gray tells them of the 1989 events except for the deaths of Diana's parents. He says everything leads back to Providence operatives and Dr. Ortmeyer. The plan is to get to the Constant because he's the only one who knows the partners' real identities. 47 decides to side with Lucas Gray, and so does Diana, but that is unknown to the ICA. This meeting is where Diana Burnwood and 47 flip sides from working with Providence to working with Lucas Gray. And in order to trace the Constant, Arthur Edwards, their only hope is to get to the first Constant. Agent 47 is the only one to have seen him, and so they need him to remember what he looks like and who he is. He eventually does after Lucas Gray gives him the antidote that he stole from the Ether Corporation. And so that leads them to Whittleton Creek, USA. With Janus, again the first Constant, having been a former KGB official, he is able to withstand intense interrogation, so 47 must search his house and the neighborhood for clues on the current Constant. They frame Janus as the real Shadow Client and Lucas Gray just like a figurehead, kind of like the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, if you know how that goes. They do that so that Providence does not become aware of their presence. Once 47 eliminates Janus and his head of security, Nolan Cassidy, Lucas Gray retires his militia to further, quote-unquote, prove that Janus was the real Shadow Client. After successful investigation and eliminations in Whittleton Creek, the group discovers the existence of the Ark Society, an exclusive club to the exclusive club. They know that the Constant will attend their next meeting, but to discover the location, they track Janus's casket. 47's memory is coming back in flashes at this point. The Constant and the partners meet once again, exclaiming their feeling of betrayal from Janus. They say Lucas Gray will join them 6 feet under. To prove his loyalty, the Constant puts a kill switch inside himself. Somewhere in the Northern Sea, they surgically remove the kill switch and interrogate the Constant. The Constant reveals the names of 3 families: the Ingrams, the Carlyles, and the Stuyvesants. Olivia Hall searches those names, and obituaries are the results. All of them have seemingly died, but they are in fact just covering their tracks. The group knows that the families are trying to change their identities, and so they follow the transaction records, and it leads them to the Milton Fitzpatrick Bank in New York City. With everything being so recent, the money is still trackable, but not for long. The Milton Fitzpatrick Bank wipes transaction records after every 12 hours. The partners have accounts at Milton Fitzpatrick, and 47 steals the New York branch's data core for records on the partners' accounts and eliminates Providence operative, director of the bank, Athena Savalas, to keep their activities hidden. The bank records lead to 3 transactions made to Haven Island. Haven makes people disappear. They create new identities for a small sum of $2 million. 47 eliminates Haven owners Tyson Williams, Lumila Vitrova, and Stephen Bradley. Olivia infiltrates Haven servers to discover the partners' new identities. But to Olivia's surprise, she discovers that the partners don't actually have any real control in Providence. All the control is allocated to someone else. She asks Diana who is Arthur Edwards, and then Diana runs to the other room where she finds that the Constant, Arthur Edwards, has escaped.
Allocated to someone else. Everything is. The partners are left with no real control. Who is Arthur Edwards? The Constant.
Now, the very last scene in Hitman 2 is kind of open-ended. There is no real definitive answer, so I will just play the scene and share my thoughts after.
Message from Olivia. Everything's going to plan. We know where the partners are. We have our targets. You're almost there, old friend. Feels good, doesn't it? We should head out before the storm hits. Time to fulfill our purpose, 47.
To take them all down.
Yeah, so Lucas Gray, or the text, is insinuating something completely different than what Olivia Hall and Diana were talking about. Everything seems to be going fine in Lucas's Gray's side, but with Diana we clearly saw that no, not everything's under control. I think it could mean one of 2 ways. Either the Constant simply just stole their phone and texted them that everything's fine, or Diana did inform Lucas Gray the truth, and he's been siding with the Constant the whole time, and tells 47 that everything's going to plan. I personally hope it's the former, because too many switching sides, and I really want to see Lucas Gray team up with 47. I really like their dynamic, but anyway, that's the storyline up to Hitman 3. This video took a long time to make, so I do appreciate you watching to this point, and I think this is the direction I'll take my content, so if you do like it, then consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe, but anyways, that's the end of the video. I'll see you.